The enormous task of protecting our country from people entering illegally to the flow of illicit drugs and ensuring invasive foreign pests don't infiltrate our crops rests squarely on the shoulders of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency, and they are celebrating a huge milestone. Let's welcome Jacob Meyer, Area Port Director for CBP of Charleston. Great to have you with us.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so let's start with U.S. Customs, for instance. When was that started?
So the U.S. Customs Service started in 1789. The
long time ago.
First Congress, under President George Washington, wanted a way to enforce the tariffs and protect American commerce, which is still the duties we do today.
It is, but it certainly has gone through an evolution, and certainly 2001, September 11th, 2001, that significantly changed things. So tell us what happened after 2003.
Yeah, so in 2003, the Customs and Border Protection was created. This was to fall underneath the umbrella of the Department of Homeland Security that was created in 2002. What the Customs and Border Protection did is it brought together a lot of the different agencies that work on the border, to include at the time the U.S. Customs Service, the U.S. Immigration Naturalization Service, parts of the USDA who protect their plants, then the U.S. Border Patrol, all into one large agency.
Right, exactly. But it's important to not say Border Patrol anymore, it's Border Protection.
We still have the U.S. Border Patrol, but they fall underneath the U.S. Border Protection.
Gotcha. Okay. And right now, I know that really you act as a filter for this country. So anything that comes in that is foreign, you're there to protect it each step of the way. That comes through not just what's happening on the border, but at our airports, shipping. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about some of those other areas that people don't necessarily associate your agency with.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of popular in states like South Carolina, because most people say, well, where's the border here in South Carolina? Right. Well, the border's all around us. We have 4 international airports here in South Carolina that we oversee. We have the major seaport, so all the containers and all the seaport commerce, that's all inspected one way or another. A lot of it's inspected foreign, a lot of it's inspected right here physically or through our systems. So we'll go through all that. Also the 187 miles of coastline that South Carolina has, and the dozens of marinas. We also continually inspect everything that enters the United States.
Sounds like a huge undertaking.
It can be.
Well, it's a force of 60,000 plus strong, isn't it?
Yeah, 60,000 plus strong, one of the largest law enforcement agencies in the world, has one of the largest law enforcement air forces in the world as well.
Wow. And when did you join?
I joined in 2008.
And why? Why did you decide to join?
So I was in the military, and after the military looking for something new, went to college and found U.S. Customs and Border Protection as a good opportunity for me and my family. So I joined in Orlando, Florida, and have ended up now here in Charleston.
Yeah, well, we like having you here. We feel safer having you here. What are some of the strangest things that have been discovered? Some of the stories. Give us some of the backstory.
There's a lot of crazy things that people
tell us. I want to hear. I want to hear.
Try to smuggle themselves. It's often entertaining to see something you don't think about being smuggled, such as birds, and the way that people will try to smuggle birds in a lot of times to filter into the market. And so you'll see those in toilet paper rolls and things like that, stuffed in people's clothing, and that's always kind of interesting.
Or taped to their person. I've seen pictures where you've got birds taped to someone's legs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Who gets the pleasure of ripping the tape off?
Sometimes we let them do it, but no, ultimately it depends on the subject at the time. Yeah.
What kind of training do you need to join?
So we go through about 5 months of training, and that training's do a lot with the large amount of laws that we cover. We cover over 500 different trade laws that represent 49 different U.S. federal agencies. So that training over those 5 months on that, and then just other kind of basic police training, such as procedures and handling people, and then things of that nature. A big part of what we do is how we talk to people, and almost being that human lie detector, and that takes a lot of training in that too.
Is that also involving the TSA? So when you go through the TSA, is that part of your agency when people are looking at your driver's license when you go through the airport?
TSA is a big partner of ours, but they are just another agency under DHS.
Okay.
But we do share a lot of the same databases
I see.
amongst them.
But I think it's really interesting what you say about being a human lie detector, and it is true. I've seen videos of people, they just get that sense. You got to use that spidey sense, right, to sometimes figure out, separate the wheat from the chaff almost. Now, there are new policies that people should be aware of, or are things pretty much status quo in terms of how the agency operates?
Things are always changing on different administrations and things of that nature. For most people, you would know if it's directly affecting you, but there's nothing out there that's too outlandish.
Okay, all right. Well, you've given us some really interesting information. This has been fun to talk to you. I've got many more questions for you, though, but we ran out of time, unfortunately. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're back after this.